guess who didn't record near as much footage as she thought she did? Hi guys, it's Fana, and thank you so much for watching. Today I am making Nova, which is an OC that I first posted artwork of September 22nd, 2016 on DeviantArt. I have been wanting to make this OC ever since I started to get into the doll hobby. She doesn't have a story at all whatsoever. She's one of those few OCs of mine that are not from one specific work. She's just random, and all I really know is I call her my star girl. That's it. That's her backstory. I decided to use a Catty Noir doll, and I used this curly white doll hair from either Joann's or Michael's. 4 months ago, decided not to record this. I think at the time I probably was like, oh, you guys know how to reroute hair. I don't have to show it. And then me looking at the footage today was like, you moron, you absolutely have to show it. But we are gonna go straight into the face up, shall we? So after I removed the factory paint with acetone and I tore out the hair and then I rerouted the hair and I didn't bother to show any of you, I then decided to completely cover Nova's body with a silvery white micro powder. Now these are not very high quality glitters plural. It's very difficult for pigment to show up on such a dark complexion. I mean, it's literally black plastic. So this took several layers of MSC, and I'd also decided to add some blushing in with my chalk pastels, and it's not as noticeable as I would like despite several layers of doing so. But I tried to give her body a little bit more natural blushing by adding some dark rosy colors and some lighter pinks to her breasts as well as all of her joints. Now, after I sprayed a final layer of Mr. Super Clear, it was time for an extremely messy project, which is splatter painting. I also use this technique on her face, not quite as much as the body though. This entails watering down some white acrylic paint, taking a paintbrush, or I see a lot of people have success with a toothbrush, actually, obviously one that's not being used, and you flick it. You flick the paintbrush and the watered down paint splatters all over the body. Now, the reason I did this was because since Nova's such an experimental type character, you may have noticed in the illustrations, but her appearance does change quite a bit depending on how I want to draw her, and I usually always draw her with freckles all over her face, white freckles, and I want them to be stars. So I thought it would be really, really cute to cover her body with them as well. I also wasn't being too careful with my speckling on the body because I thought that like the larger, more blotchier parts looked a little bit more like they could be galaxies, or at least that's what I convinced myself that's what they looked like. I also decided to paint her fingernails and her toenails white just as an added little detail. After I finished with this, another layer of Mr. Super Clear was needed, and then it was time to move on to the face. I began building up the face with different layers of watercolor pencils as well as my pastels once more. This was a very difficult process because, like I said before, the black plastic refused to allow any color, and as you can see here, I was actually able to get the white pretty opaque on my first try, and then as soon as I sprayed it with my Mr. Super Clear, it faded completely. So that was really frustrating. I had to resort to using white acrylic paint, and that's where everything went wrong. I hope you guys actually like these real-time clips that I'm showing. I know it's a little bit different for me. I usually speed things up quite a bit, but I like this as well. Let me know down in the comments below if you want some more real-time of the face-ups and such. The splatter paint did not work as well in the face as I wanted to, so I wiped that off because I had already sealed my previous layer with Mr. Super Clear, and I attempted to draw on her star freckles myself with a tiny paintbrush, but that did not work out, and I was really enjoying her face until the white acrylic paint came in, so I ended up completely redoing the face, or mostly redoing the face, and didn't record it. But this is how it turned out. I have a little crappy phone video at the time of me doing it, and you can also see a before and after of the two faces, and I much prefer the second one. And I'm very proud of this little star for some reason. I decided to go with this outfit design for Nova, which is the most common one that I draw her in. I quickly sketched up the pattern and cut out the front and back out of a dark navy blue fabric, as well as cutting big poofy sleeves out of a sheer fabric that you might recognize from my Bahoot doll. I had some silvery embroidery floss, which I thought would be absolutely perfect with embroidering the stars on the hem kind of going up the side of the dress, and I am a counted cross stitch type girl. I do not have any formal traditional embroidery training, as you might see, and at first I sketched out the star design that I wanted to do, but I don't think you can see it in the footage. The very faint outlines that I was doing, it doesn't matter. I didn't follow them. What I like about the design is that it is all along the hem on the front, and then it kind of swoops up on the one side, and I wanted to make sure that there was quite a big star there on the big swoop. I also decided to sew on some shimmery beads. They add more texture and detail to the star pattern, as well as being the same color as the sleeves. I constructed the dress off camera, but this is how it turns out, which super simple but super cute. And the next step was to make a Peter Pan collar, which I was terrified of doing, so I ended up cheating and using this lace instead. And the way that I did that was I just gathered the lace in the center to give it more of that whoop whoop type swoop, which apparently is the word of the day. All I did was attach it to the collar and sew on one of those little beads once more to just make everything cohesive. The outfit doesn't have any kind of opening in it because I knew that since Nova's head was still removed from her body, I would be able to slip it on without many problems at all, since the fabric has enough give in order for me to do so. Just barely enough give though. I then decided to use this sheer wire ribbon that I have in order to make her swoopy-esque type ribbons that come from the back of her dress. I have no explanation to these. I draw them a lot when drawing Nova, and I think it helps give her a little bit more whimsy and some body to her. And Nova never has shoes. Never, ever, ever has shoes. And I think that's because she walks among the stars or whatever. But with that, Nova is all done. Thank you guys for being patient and waiting for me to make another doll video. I know that it's been a hot second, but I have so many projects in the works and I am so excited to share them all with you, and I hope you like seeing one of my original characters. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. Check out my Instagram fanastyfinder for other whips and shenanigans, especially in the story. I hope you have a phenomenal day and keep being extraordinary. Bye!